Welcome back to the podcast. So I'm really excited to deliver you this episode today after a little experiment I have been running. So if you follow me on socials or you've been listening to the podcast, I have been teasing just a little bit about this episode coming up. Now, little disclaimer, unfortunately, this little experiment did not get the results that I expected. So I am a bit disappointed in that. And I'll talk you through that and you'll see why. I think that there was a lot of variables that could have been changed here. I will talk you through this, and if so, I guarantee there probably would have been a very different outcome. So it is a shame, but there was a point that I was making with this experiment, and I'm going to talk you through it today. So I'm just going to do you a little bit of an update over the last few weeks, because I've not really brought a personal element of what I've been doing and working on in my business and personal life, and I want to share that with you. I want you to see actually behind the scenes of a business, because I feel like there's so much BS and we don't need that anymore. I want you to start seeing behind the scenes of some businesses and what it actually looks like and what the reality is from when you see someone who you deem as successful, for example. So in the last few weeks, or months I should say, I have changed my business plans again. So originally I was going to be launching my foundations program again in September, which I have decided not to do because it just didn't align with me. Love the program, love delivering it. The content was great. It's got many results for my clients. I will still use it. It's still there, but it's not something I wanted to run live again. What was truly aligned for me is my mastermind. My time rich mastermind is the one thing that I really, really want to focus on, because I know that I can really help people. And the reason is because in that space, I get to work with people on a one-to-one basis, but in a group every single week. So what that means is when you're in the mastermind, you get focused time to be hot seat and coached every single week. And I love that because it's so powerful to be supported by me, but be supported by your peers as well. So I was really excited to bring that together, and that's what I'm focused on right now. Also, I've got a membership, the Queen's Connection Club, which I really want to revamp and focus on as well, so that I've got different ways I can serve people. I've got a lower price point and then I've got like a consistent one, and they are very different, but I really want to lean into that and go with what my mission is in my heart, right? So this is what I wanted to do. And then obviously I have got, if you hadn't heard it before, the Innovation Celebration business event that I'm running at the end of the year. This is something I want to run every year, so I need it to do well, I need it to be successful, and so I'm working on that. And actually the email campaign that I'm going to talk about today in this episode was for selling that event. So I'm going to walk you through a little bit of what I did. So this episode is all about using AI in email marketing and AI experiment. So unless you've been under a rock, you will have noticed that artificial intelligence is absolutely everywhere. These days, it can't be avoided. In the current climate, most business owners are using the latest AI trend, or ChatGPT, which seems to be the go-to option for many creators who want to market a product or service on social media. It's everywhere. There is no escaping it. And I think we all can understand and appreciate what it does, right? It saves us time. But I wanted to share my thoughts on the use of AI for marketing. So my first impression of AI was that people would become lazy and rely too heavily on it and then lose their brand essence. So the first thoughts that I had were that business owners would lose their brand voice, originality, and it would impact creative thinking. When I work with therapists and coaches to grow their businesses, I'm often finding that most of their sentences begin with, I didn't know XYZ, and so I asked ChatGPT, right? I can guarantee that you, as a listener to this podcast, have said the same thing. I bet you've done that at some point. I bet you thought, don't know the answer to this, I'm going to ask ChatGPT. And I myself have been guilty of being sucked into the ease of asking an AI bot to do the work for me because it saves time. And as the Queen of Business Organisation, I'm all for a time-saving hack. But in this case, not at the detriment of the connection that my brand has and the impact my business can have to my audience and to the people that I work with when it comes to communicating via marketing. And this is something that I started seeing from the beginning, and I stayed away from AI as much as possible because of this one thing, because I was worried that it just wouldn't regurgitate enough to sound and be like me. And it does have its uses, as I will talk about. However, I just couldn't get on board with it. I found it like people would skip some of the strategic work. In fact, I've just done a live on Instagram this morning talking about creating a service that sells itself, and I talked about the importance of your brand and mission, your vision, your values, and communicating that in your marketing. But the thing is, when we use AI to do this work for us, to produce content for us, we're not bringing that brand essence across, and it is a problem. So I want to talk about the little experiment that I did, and I want to talk about using AI in email marketing in particular. I know that a lot of people use it for social media, and a lot of people are now aware of how important email marketing, which is great, because I've always talked about that. And so I've used it recently in my email marketing. So eager to write my email campaign for my upcoming innovation celebration. So I can't even say the word. Innovation celebration business event. I opened up ChatGPT. I actually wrote out my own sequence, and what I did was I asked AI, so I used ChatGPT, for ideas for the sequence and some subject lines to hook in the reader. At this point, that's all I'd copied and pasted. I wrote my own email, so I want to really highlight the fact that I didn't ask it to do all of the work for me. I only asked for ideas and some subject lines to hook in the reader, and then I wrote my own emails. I would never ever recommend a copy and paste job, because it does lose your originality, and most people can now spot ChatGPT generated content from a mile away. They can see it and they just know. I think they just feel it's a bit lazy, to be honest. I don't want to put anyone down who does use ChatGPT, I really don't. But when people can notice that, they switch off straight away, because they can see that you've not put the effort into this. So what I did is I took those emails that I wrote and I filtered them through the app and asked it to tidy them up, give them authority, and be impactful in enticing my reader to take action. Okay, so this is what I wanted it to do. I wanted it to take my content, I wanted it to give it authority, have an impact, and entice the reader to take action. Obviously, my goal for this sales sequence was to get ticket sales for Innovation Celebration. Okay, so I sent out one email, and my friend Alex spotted instantly that it wasn't 100% me. Alex is a copywriter at Amber and Sonder, and so she knows her stuff when it comes to word wisdom, and we had a conversation about my need for use of AI. She claimed that my original brand voice was great and I don't need the help of AI for email marketing, and so I decided to embark on a little experiment. So here is what happened with the AI experiment. So basically, this experiment was based on the email marketing campaign I'd written to sell the Innovation Celebration event tickets. As I had my original content, I decided to run an A/B test via email marketing. So for those of you that don't know what an A/B test is, it's also known as a split test, and it's a method of comparing two variations of content on a digital asset and then analysing the data to see what was best performing. In this case, I had version A, which was the content that was tidied up by ChatGPT, and version B, which was my original content. It's important to note that none of the variables within this experiment wasn't accurate, because the subject and preview lines for each version were very similar and created by AI. This means that the true results and data that are important in this test, and the results of conversion once the email has been read by my subscriber, are not true. It's a little bit biased. So this is probably why this experiment didn't have the outcome that I wanted it to have. So if I was to perform this experiment again, I would completely do a split test. I would write one version myself, including the headlines, subject lines, including the preview lines and the whole body content, but then I would tell ChatGPT to write a sequence itself, and I would copy and paste that and send both out through an A/B test and see how they perform. Who knows, I might end up doing this in future. So, the results of using AI for email marketing. So remember that email A was the ChatGPT tidy up, and email B was my untidy original email content. And here is what the results had shown. So in email 1, my version had a higher open rate, but both had equal conversion of clicks to the sales page. In email 2, The AI version had higher open rate and click-through, and mine had no click-through at all. In email 3, AI had a better open rate and no click-through, whilst mine had a lower open rate but had some sales page visits. In email 4, mine had a higher open rate, but both had no click-through. In email 5, again, mine had a high open rate and both had no click-through. And then in email 6, both had the exact same open rate, but mine had higher click-through, whereas AI didn't get any click-through at all. And then in the final email, in email 7, AI performed better with higher open rate and click-through compared to mine, which didn't have any conversions to the sales page at all. And neither emails generated any sales. So, this was not the results that I expected. In conclusion to this, I am disappointed that the outcome didn't give much clearer insights, because I would have loved to showcase a real clear difference. However, as I've said, because the experiment didn't have accuracy with the variables, it's not going to get greater results. So if I were to perform this A/B test again, I would have ChatGPT complete the right version A, which, let's face it, most businesses are doing right now anyway. And then I would write a version B myself, which has no input at all from ChatGPT. And then I would look at how both of those perform and look at the data, because I'm sure there will be a massive difference because the content will be completely different. So in hindsight, the variables weren't great enough. It wasn't a accurate experiment, but it was really fun to play around with. So let's talk about email marketing, because a lot of people are still forgetting about it and asking the question whether email marketing is still effective. And yes, the answer is yes. It is still effective, and I'm a huge advocate for using email marketing now more than ever. It may seem old school, however, when you build an email contact list, you own that list. Unlike your social media following, which you can lose at any time, should you lose access to your account, it's gone. So within the rise in hacking or lack of contacts to Meta, many social media users are facing loss of their platforms. So it's always wise to build an email marketing list behind your brand too, and use it consistently. I wanted to share some stats with you on why you should be using email marketing in 2025. So as of this year, almost 4.5 billion people use email around the globe, and by 2027 this number is expected to surpass 4.8 billion. So it's going to go increase over the next 2 years by 0.2 billion. That's a lot of people. Email marketing revenue worldwide is expected to reach 17.9 billion by 2027. Revenue, 17.9 billion. That is insane. And 99% of email users check their inboxes every single day. I'm one of those people. I actually check my emails multiple times a day. I've got different mailboxes as well. And then 51% of consumers say that email is the best and most convenient way for companies to communicate with them. I completely agree with that. I love being able to find stuff in my email. It's a lot easier than the business of social media and Messenger. So the source for these was sixthcitymarketing.com/email marketing stats. So you can have a look at these stats yourself as well, should you wish. Now, I don't want to just share with you this experiment, because I know that many of you probably are using AI for your email marketing or for the work in your business. So I wanted to give you some top tips for using email for marketing, using AI. So AI is a great tool, and absolutely use it to support you, but don't rely on it fully. I fear that many brands are lacking the connection of their mission, vision and values because AI cannot articulate this accurately, because it can't feel the passion behind you and your brand. So my top tips to make email marketing effective are to use AI for ideas, not writing your content. So no copy and pasting. The most important part of your email is the subject line, as this is what will entice people to open. So really think about how you can entice people using the subject line and really focus on that. Always have a call to action on every single email so that it can generate a result for the reader and for you. Be consistent, so don't set and forget. It will only have an impact if you use this marketing method regularly and send out email campaigns. Lots of people set and forget. They set up the platform, they start building a list, and then they leave it. And it's not going to have an impact unless you're consistently using it. And then finally, don't forget to drive traffic to your email list. Many clients I work with set up and then don't generate any leads to it, and I'm always reminding them, market your email list regularly. I recommend at least once per week to my clients. However, it could be argued that we need to be funneling people into our email list every single day. So here's a conclusion I want to walk you through on using AI during my experiment for email marketing. So I am disappointed in the results, and I could perform this again with a complete sequence written by myself versus by one completely written by AI. However, I value my business and the mission I have to help people create freedom and fortune through business organisation and strategy. To waste too much time getting a lack of results because I've used AI to market for me. So if you value your business and the mission that you have, then please consider how you use AI with any of your email marketing and its impact. And I have got a little bit of a tip for using AI for repurposing your content. So something that myself and my team do, which we are finding very time saving and valuable at the moment, is repurposing my own content. So using AI to seamlessly create more content from my original work. When I do podcasts, which I'm doing right now, which I record using Riverside and host on Captivate, my VA uses the AI within Riverside to transcribe the video content, edit the content into short clips, which I then can use for reels and on Instagram, and then copy the transcript into ChatGPT and ask it to repurpose my content into an email and some social media posts. I actually have a prompt that I use, which I'm going to share with you now. So once I've recorded this episode, my VA will take it, will put it, will transcribe it, and then send that transcript to ChatGPT, and she will say, can you take the text from this transcript and turn it into some carousel ideas, real ideas, static post ideas, quotes, and other social media content? Could you also please turn it into an email I can send out? Can you draft the email to lead with value instead, and then end with a call to action to learn more within my latest podcast episode? Can you suggest a preview line to encourage more opens? In this podcast episode, what links should I need to include for things I mentioned? Can you describe the episode for an SEO description within 300 characters? So that one prompt is going to give me everything I need for her to be able to have an SEO description within the podcast. It's going to give me content ideas for social media. We're going to repurpose it by getting some of the content clips that we can share. We're going to get some quotes from my own content so I can quote myself. So looking at the email stats from my VA using that email every week that ChatGPT sends, we have actually had an increase in open rates and click-throughs to the podcast. So overall, I feel that AI can work brilliantly when you input your original content first, which is why I think there's not been a lot of difference within this experiment, because I put my content first and it's regurgitated that versus just asking the email to be written for you by AI. If you're feeling confused with mastering your email marketing, I can offer a whole wealth of tips to improve your email marketing, but the truth is that there are so many integral parts to mastering your email marketing. There's the components of the email marketing, team with nailing your brand message and copy as well. And I get it, there's always a lot to learn and implement when it comes to marketing your business within any of these assets, not just email marketing. So if you would like a free clarity call about your business goals, then please click on the button or contact me and see how I can support you to make your marketing easier, and book a call. If you're looking for some actionable training, join me inside my business membership, Queen's Connection Club, where I provide access to step-by-step MailerLite email marketing mini course and email marketing training. Some of the things I've talked about within this episode means that I've attached an affiliate link, and I may be paid for you sign up to use any of the software I have mentioned, especially those that I use for recording my podcast. Riverside and Captivate are both amazing tools, and I highly recommend them. I hope you've gained something from this episode, and it's given you some food for thought in how you use AI for your email marketing, with a few useful tips in order to use it effectively to save time. But remember, your original content, it needs to come from within you to connect with the people that you want to work with. That's massively important. Until next time, I'll see you in another episode.